In this video, we will be focusing on the content creation and workflow capabilities of Oracle's Knowledge Advanced application. In order to show the workflow and what the workflow looks like, I have to log in as the administrator because our authors and reviewers don't really have access to that view. The workflow that we're testing on is one that has 3 steps associated with it. The draft, review, and public steps. The draft step is when the article is first created and it's ready to be reviewed. Once it's reviewed and it's accepted, it goes into the publish mode, and the publisher goes ahead and publishes it. So in order for an article to get through the initial save and draft to publish, there are 3 steps involved. There's the draft, review, and publish, and that is pretty much what we're going to be seeing in this quick demo here. So first is when I have sort of logged in as a KA author whose role is being an author, I would be starting with creating an article. Let's say I'm going to create a how-to article. And let's say, and I'm taking this content from something that parts of what already exists. Let's say the article that we're going to write is how to install Atheros Wi-Fi driver through device manager. Sorry about the spelling. So suppose for the time being I have no reason to have internal notes with respect to this, which would be notes that are specifically designed for internal users and not to be exposed to the outside world. I'm going to go directly to the instructions on this case, and I'm just going to get the first couple of steps, the steps that I see, basically copying and pasting. Normally I would be typing these, obviously. So the article, I'm sort of copying and pasting from an existing source just because I'm not the true author of this article. This would be the body of the article. Obviously, the formatting would be a little bit more neutral in this case, so we would have the general system take care of the formatting. But once the article has been created, and let's say some value has been assigned in terms of actually this is a public article, so we don't need that stuff. We will go to save the document. Now, article has been saved and it is in the draft state, but it has not been pushed to the next step. It is not ready to be reviewed yet. So in this case, in this way, I can actually come back to this article and make changes to it, whether it's stylistic or content-wise. It would still be sitting in my bucket as an article that I'm working on. When I'm ready to push this article for sort of further steps, I would click on approve here, and once I do that, it would change its step from draft to the review step. I can actually choose, I don't have anything configured in here, but I can actually choose who's going to review this. I can push it down the line that way, and I can add some comments in here. You can also see that the history of the article will also be captured. So once I hit approve on this article, you can see that there's not a whole lot I can do as an author. I've written it, I've drafted it, and I've put it into the workflow. And when I'm done, that's pretty much what I have. So now when I log in as a reviewer, first thing that you'll notice is that this article is appearing in my tasks available list because it is not put into the workflow, and me as a reviewer now, I will this article is ready for my review, and what I can do here is to click on this, and I can change the assignment. I can specify to who should be reviewing this. I can take it on. I can hand it to somebody else. But after I've read this thing, I mean, there are two choices, obviously. It could be rejected to the draft state before. I can see it's in the review step. I can reject it to the draft step and basically put a note in here that says, make the following changes. Or I can approve it and push it further down in the workflow. Let's say I have approved this. All right. You can see again, I really don't have any other steps left available for me because I'm only a reviewer. I do not do the next step. So once we're done with this, you can see that it's not in my task list anymore. But if I'm logging in as a publisher, the publisher who goes in will see that the article is now in their own task list. They can go in, and it's going to be the same process. I mean, perhaps I want to assign it to somebody else. Perhaps I want to take this on. I want to read this carefully. I want to make sure that the reviewer did the job correctly. And if I am in a state of rejecting this thing, I can reject it to either draft state or the review state, depending on what I've seen here. This is a particular configurational choice that we make. You could also make it such that it all automatically goes back to the previous step. It all automatically goes back to draft. In this particular configuration, we've given publishers the ability to choose who this should be rejected to, and perhaps with certain notes identifying what is the reason for that rejection. But if I have no further problems with this, I can go and say approve. And so once I've approved this, you'll see this article in the contents as a published live article. And the notification for the review will be available for the person who wrote the author, saying that this has been published. This is the automatic translate feature that has been turned on for this content type. It basically says, because the article has been created, now we need the translation, and me as a sort of translator, because I have that capability as an author, it also makes it available to me, but that's a sort of separate issue. What I have here is that the article published notification has been received, and any item in here, by the way, depending on the configuration, I could actually choose to receive emails out of this, so that it's not just that I see it when I log into the system in the inbox, but I could also receive notification on it. And that's the rundown on the workflow.